Hi everyone, from me, Brent Graham of goodforthegame.co.za. It's Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock, a strange time to be coming to you, but I had a bit of a hectic Thursday night. It might also explain if I look a bit dozy during the show. But looking forward to talking to you about some excellent rugby games, including the three I've got on screen there: England, South Africa, France, New Zealand, Wales v Australia. And let's have a look. I've got joining me in the studio, well, a familiar face in the top right-hand side of my screen as I look at it, the Oracle. Oracle, first of all, welcome back to the show. You haven't had a long layoff as the other man on down below has, but what a weekend you had. I think you were all over the bookmakers last weekend.
Yeah, Brent, I think it came to close to 200 to 1. I think it was 180 to 1 in the end. Obviously, on those ones, you don't put a lot of money on them. Very small, but yeah, it was nice to find a couple of outsiders. It was the Southern Hemisphere fiver, but where I differed from other people, as I said, go and find the biggest Argentina minus you can, because it was a digit missing, and that was the kicker, really. Australia, I suppose, was the hoper, but when they went down, they were down 14-3, I think, in the beginning. I said to my kids, geez, I don't know if they're going to come back from this, but they did, and it ended up being an 80-pointer. For those going over on points, would have loved that game. But yeah, I enjoyed all the rugby. I was quite surprised. I thought Fiji had beaten Wales before in Wales, and I looked it up, and the draw that I was remembering from many years ago. But yeah, they got their number finally. They missed it in the World Cup and finally got it. So yeah, great weekend of rugby, and equally, I'm looking forward to a great weekend of rugby this weekend. Except there's no Sunday games. That's the only difference to last week.
Yeah, looking forward to it as well. Just to welcome the guys in the live chat. Mark is joining us in the afternoon there. What would it be in Ireland? Probably about 1 or 2 o'clock there. I'm not sure of the difference. And teams start straight out of the blocks with the treble there. Argentina plus 11.5, South Africa minus 9.5, and New Zealand, Australia half time full time. New Zealand minus 5.5. What is that scene? I'm going to have a look at that. But anyway, welcome to the guys who are joining us on this strange time. I'm going to go down to Chris in a second just to mention, personally for me, Ireland, a bit of a loss last weekend. I thought they were very poor. I started the weekend on the back foot, but I had a nice bet on Australia at just over 5 to 1. And I was at a mate's, at a party actually, and thank goodness the TV came on with about 20 minutes of that game to go, because what a finish to the English game. Ended up hitting a little accumulator on the newsletter there as well. And that brings us nicely into the new guest, because he's also got a newsletter. It's at the Crow Tips. Chris, I see you've been in pretty good form at the moment. And you've got yourself a Patreon account set up there as well. You've got a few boys supporting you.
Yeah, thanks, Brent. Yeah, the newsletter's trucking on very nicely. Yeah, after a bit of a rough start. It's been going very nicely, building up quite a nice community there as well. So really enjoying that. So yeah, I've led that onto a Patreon page as well, which I'm going to give. I give about 1 bet, maybe 2 in the newsletter. But I'll be looking to give a couple more on Patreon. And as I was saying to you guys, obviously rugby is my bread and butter, which will be about 80% of my punts. But I do punt a lot of football and US sports and focus on those, and I am profitable there. So I'll share my best bets for the weekend on my Patreon page for a little fee. And yeah, obviously want to grow that, and then obviously offer as much value add there as I can. And yeah, I want to spend some time with this and grow it. So yeah, if you want to join, please just go to my Twitter page. It's the sign up links are there, and if you want to get involved, come along.
Excellent. Well, all the best to you with that. And let's start off with you in the first game that takes place tonight. We've got Ireland up against Argentina. Handicap here pretty much across the board now at minus 12.5. I think there was some minus 14.5 early in the week, certainly 13.5. So a bit of money coming for Argentina. I suppose a few people are wondering, what to read into Ireland's defeat last week. And certainly Argentina, although they struggled to put 2 good performances together in a row often, they certainly have looked the business this season, having beaten Australia, South Africa, and New Zealand. Chris, what do you make of this one? We've got a line of 12.5 and a points line of 49.5.
So my initial call and comments I made is, Ireland just surely are not going to be as bad as they were last week. And I said that this is not a good spot for Argentina, because this is a bounce back spot for Ireland. They're most definitely going to be much better. And as you mentioned, Argentina can't put back-to-back performances. I mean, when they beat New Zealand, they got hammered by 30. When they beat us, we hammered them by almost 50. So I can see the sentiment for Arge. I really can. I must admit, I made a terrible call on Italy last week. I went against my grain. I looked like a bit of a schmuck there. I also thought that was a spot for Italy to take the Argies with a few of their better players out. But why I'm reading this at the moment is I totally expected Ireland bounce back. the cap is high. That is a high number, especially for these two. I haven't put my finger or pulled the trigger on anything on a single at the moment. I'm just at the moment trying to work out, well, actually, I didn't do the business and I win really well. At the moment, I'm eyeing out the Irish points. It's at about 30. I think that is also quite high. So I'll probably be looking at an alt Irish points in the mid-20s with a double somewhere. So that's the angle I'm looking at them at the moment. But I do believe Ireland are going to win well. Yeah, I think they have to make a statement performance, and I think that's exactly what they will do. And if they are focused, there'll be too much power for Argentina.
Well, I can tell you, Oracle and I haven't discussed this game. I am leaning on the Argentina plus, but not strong. But I've just got a feeling that Oracle's going to tell us they got the wrong favorite here. Oracle, what do you have to say on this one?
They don't have the wrong favourite, and I agree with Chris. And I did hear another mate of mine tell me earlier this week that the Argentinians are arriving at the wrong time because of last week's Ireland game. And yes, that's what the public are thinking, and probably quite a lot of people, and they're probably really right to think that way. I just got it's not a feeling, but I've just got a suspicion that this team is. The only thing that's stopping me having a bigger bet is that they haven't put two big games together. However, in saying that, that's something that has to break eventually. It can't carry on forever. This would round up the quartet for Argentina for the year. They've beaten New Zealand, they've beaten us, they've beaten Australia, and I'm going to tell you they can win this game. So I'm a plus punter, yes. I'm not a minus punter. If you're not prepared to take the plus, I'm going to tell you don't have a bet. Rather don't. Plus or no bet should be the way you should look at this game. And I will have a small nibble on the Pumas on the board because they can win. And geez, what a hell of a year they've had. It's been taken away because they're not in the top three rankings. They're below the line of what people are looking at. Everyone's looked at South Africa's year, the All Blacks year, and the Irish year. But this is a phenomenal team. And I've been told by people that understand the players and the players' strengths that the team that smashed Italy last week wasn't their best team. So I think they've rested a couple of players that probably targeted this game. This is the quartet. They've got the treble. They're going for the quartet. I wouldn't be surprised if Argentina win this game. And if Ireland win, honestly, it'll be a scraper. They were so poor last week. They cannot possibly improve that much in 1 week. Whoever they play next week's in a bit of trouble. But this week, I'm on Argentina.
Right. Interesting thoughts there, Gav. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one as well. As I say, leaning slightly on Argentina. One thing I do want to say, I did make the point about Argentina stringing two games to go in a row together. But I guess Italy at the end of the day, the betting suggested it was going to be a tight game at 3.5. But in other words, what I'm saying is, was that really a big performance for Argentina last week? Yes, it was a big win, but they weren't playing in South Africa, they weren't playing in New Zealand. So I'm kind of saying maybe that wasn't such. They don't have to string two big performances together because last week was a sort of run-of-the-mill victory for them. So
yes, and Brent, you can add one more thing to that. This is probably Italy's best year in, I don't know, 15 years, the whole Six Nations. I don't think they've won two games before. This Six Nations campaign of theirs, I know it was earlier in the year, but this is probably their best year in rugby in a long time. So this wasn't a bad Italian team, and that was represented in the price. So, I made that a double-digit minus. I thought the minus should have been closer to 15 or even as much as 20, and that's why I suggested go get a little bit more at that price because you're getting the 9 to 10 price at 2 to 1 or even 5 to 2 or 3 to 1, whatever you ended up getting. But yeah, so you're right. Winning by, the margin they won by, they could have won by 2 tries less or even 3 tries less, and we probably would have said the same thing. So the performance from Argentina was better. Italy, maybe no. Maybe that's just how they are at this moment. I don't know.
Can I just say,
anything to close out this game from your side?
Yeah, look, I totally. I'm probably just going to reiterate my point. I totally get what you guys are saying, but I'm also going to make a point. When New Zealand came focused, they hammered Argentina. Argentina was supposed to have a chance to win the championship. They came to South Africa, focused South Africa, got hammered. I think we all agree. Last week, people said Ireland were going to beat New Zealand by 10. Now we're saying Argentina are going to beat New Zealand, Ireland at home. I get it. I totally get it. I don't think I'm a minus punt at this stage either, but I don't know. I'm just, if all things considered equal, Ireland win this by 20 points or more.
I must say it's a game I'm not very strong on. I've eventually leaned on Argentina. I just think that evidence points perhaps to an Argentina plus here, but it's not a game that I'll be getting carried away in, certainly unless I find something on the points. At 49, pretty well priced to me. I was thinking this might be a bit more of an open game. Conditions do look fairly good, but yeah, we'll have to see what happens there. Right, Gav, let's stick with you now. England plus 7.5 against South Africa, and we've got a points line here of 47.5 at Twickenham.
Yeah, I'm going to say what I said last week. Okay. South Africa win this game. I wasn't a minus punter last week on South Africa. I just said they win the game. I think Rassie just wants to win these games. He'll win the game. They could win by 20. They're not losing. So I would put South Africa in all your multiples, add it to any of your other bets. I'm not strong on this minus here. It very well could arrive, but South Africa win the game. I know that doesn't mean much at 3-10 or whatever they are, but yeah, this is an add to the other stuff. South Africa win this game. How much? I have no idea.
Gav, sorry guys, I've lost the sound totally somehow there. I hope, just give me the thumbs up if you can all hear me.
We can.
Yeah.
And you can hear each other. Chris, you can hear Gavin.
I can hear Gavin,
I'm going to go down to Chris. I'm going to log out and come back in again and try and find out what happened to my sound. But you guys go for it. Shot, Chris.
Yeah, sure. I'll go. Yeah. Well, Gav, I also agree. I also think this is actually to be a much closer game than people are probably saying. I think England are 100% going to be up for it and desperate. And we all know what desperate teams play like. And I think that's exactly what England are going to be. Yes, that's our full strength side. But I think like what happened to Ireland, haven't played in a while, it means something. We were totally not efficient in a lot of our deposits last week because another changed team. So are we going to come in totally together and gelled and play like a unit and smash them off the park? I'm battling to see that. England's also selections of Portfleet and Stewart are quite interesting. They're obviously going for a particular game plan against us. So I think they're going to try to draw us into a scrap fest. So this is also, initially I was thinking of the points, but this actually could become quite a messy game. I think if it was like the World Cup semi, if it was rain, that would bring England much closer into the game. But I think it's going to be dry. But I agree. I'm not running all over South Africa -7 here. I actually think this is going to be a one-score game South Africa's way because South Africa's got used to winning and England seem to have got used to losing. And I think that's also going to come down to something in the last 10 minutes.
It's also one of those dangerous handicaps, Chris, at 7. Because, it is a one-score game and a one-score game could be anything from 1 to 9 and, or even 1 to 11 and you haven't beaten a team by more than a try. It's a try and a kick. So, this is a dangerous handicap. That's all I can say, especially considering how the mindset of the South Africans is. They're not looking at this number. They don't give a flying crap about it. They just want to win the game. And I expect them to win it. They'll find a way to win it because they're finding a way to win the games.
I totally agree. And like you said, we could be win by 3, we could win by 20. And this is why this cap's, I think, are dangerous. If we go to the next, France gave us a different sentiment there. But I agree, that's why the cap is dangerous. The other option here is to take a big minus. So, again, I like to do this sometimes is take a -15 or a -20 at a price and have a smaller stake on it and say, you know what, if I'm right, I want to win some money. I don't want to just get the 9 to 10 at 7. So it's a speculation that, yes, if any team can run away with this game, South Africa can. But I just don't think they will. I think this is going to be scrappy. And, we can move on, Brent. We've agreed. We can talk another half an hour and go in circle.
I'm in on my phone and I got a phone call and some of that knocked my sound up, but we're back. Right, and I'm on the wrong game there. Let's go to what I consider probably the game of the weekend here, Chris, and I'll start with you. France, -1.5 against New Zealand. This handicap has been fairly stable all week from what I've seen. We've got a point line of 51.5. France, I know, missing 1 or 2 players. New Zealand, well, they've had 3 games in a row, 2 of which have been very tough encounters. Is there a chance that they're going to start taking strain? What do you make of this game? It's certainly for me the match of the weekend.
I think the opposite there. I think New Zealand have built up very nicely into this game, perfectly into this game, where France haven't. I think France have got all the changes. They played against Japan. It was quite a weird also performance there. So France have made those changes. I like New Zealand's team. They've picked a team they're built to play France. They've brought in the cavalry, the heavy cavalry, to take on the French physicalness. I'm not so sure Villiers and Fiku in the backline there. Those guys. I don't know if they're actually their true form players. I think this spot actually leads up nicely for New Zealand. Also, last time they played there, obviously France hammered them at their own World Cup. I mean, they were fired up, different team, prepared for that game. France have not been the side that they've been this year. I just think the spot actually suits New Zealand. And as we know, grudge matches, New Zealand will have in the back of the mind of that opening the match, and they want to put that right. I'm quite strongly leaning that I think New Zealand will take this game. Very, very close. One of my bets I like is that try bet, because no doubt France can sneak the win, but I do not see any team putting away from each other. So the try bet here, quite strong. And I actually do like the points here. I do think we'll see points, and quite a medium call on the over 50 there. I think that will land.
Right, a couple of comments in the live chat are supporting you there, Chris. There's certainly plenty of support here for New Zealand. I went against the grain last week with Ireland and I got badly burnt. So I'm a little bit nervous because I did like France early in the week on this one. Oracle, what do you have for us here?
Well, I got two things for you, Brent. Yes, your newsletter, ACCA didn't include New Zealand, which was foolish on your part. So, yes, I'm going to remind you that you got that wrong last week. On the other hand, just by the comments here, it appears everybody's going for New Zealand, Chris as well. I'm going to tell you, New Zealand, the second thing is, yes, this is the best match of the weekend. It's not the best punting value for me. We haven't found that yet. We're on our way there. But yes, I like New Zealand here. I wouldn't take you could take a big minus here, but I think you'd be wasting your money. I don't see either team winning this game by more than 10. I don't know, you've suggested those bets in the past, Brent. Any team to win by 1 to 7. That's probably something if you're a bit worried. But personally, I would just take the 11 or 10 on offer on New Zealand. We don't have to talk about Terry anymore, but yes, 11 or 10 about New Zealand winning a rugby game. It's good enough for me. I'm on. I'm interested.
No,
New Zealand on the board. I won't even take the plus one, yeah. Board only.
And I bring Rian in because last week on the show, Rian tipped a 70-1 treble. And as you say, the difference between the one I went Fiji and Australia in the newsletter, which got me out of a bit of trouble, I can tell you. But he had New Zealand as well there at 70-1. So a really good one. We'll see what Rian has got in store for us this week. Right, let's have a look then at the next game. I would say the fourth.
It is a Sunday game. Sorry, I misspoke earlier. It's a Sunday game, yeah.
It is a Sunday game. Now, we had quite a bit of movement here. I must admit, I was very surprised to see Wales plus 1.5 early in the week. I actually capped this game, I think, at 8 or 9 points. Australia favourite. There has been money for Aussie. We're looking at plus 4.5 at the moment. And Oracle, I'm guessing this is the game where you're going to find your big bet. And I see a bit of a nod on the head. We've also got a point sign here, 49.5.
Yeah, I know it's scary to say that it's granny pension time, but Australia minus here is definitely the business. What happened last week is dramatic in terms of building that team. That change room must have been euphoric. You can use all sorts of big English words, but I think this whole week has been completely upbeat. This is a changed team. That result is massive for them. And I'm going to say it's an equally double going on to the fact that the Wales have now reached double digits in losses in a row. So, and they're playing us next week. This is the end for Wales. So whatever their record of losses is, it's about to get worse, and it's going to get worse next week as well. Australia will be all over this team. There's no other possible result here. They've got a digit missing. This should be a minus 10, minus 12 game. I don't know how the hell they're sitting at minus 4. It's wrong. It's way wrong. This Australian team will devour this Wales. This Wales team must be so depressed, so unhappy. When they look at their feet and they've got to put boots on and go into that field, they must be anxiety levels must be high. They're about to become the worst Welsh team in all Welsh rugby of 100 and whatever years. This is the worst team. They perform badly. They show us they're not getting out of this rut. It's the end. It's over for them. Australia will munch on this and they'll eat them alive, and it's race over. You might as well put the result in 20 plus. Australia, race over. Pay the punters.
Hell of a lot of
Overs, good
confidence there
overs.
from the Oracle.
Granny and Grandpa's pension.
And Chris, what are you going to come in with? If you're coming in with a
Wales 1 to 12. Totally. No. You'll be a brave mofo to bet on Wales this week.
You can't like your money if you put it on Wales.
Yeah, but look, as you know, as a natural overs punters, I do like that number. To be honest, I mean, I'm hearing people saying this could become scrappy. I must admit, I got some nice. I got overs a few times in the games back in Australia this year. I wasn't expecting points there, but Wales were actually. I don't know if you guys watched the game. I was, because I was on a few bets there. They were more in Australia a few times there in Australia. I think Wales can contribute some points to this game, and so will Australia. So I like that number very much. I think that's a few points too shy. So that's where I'm very much heading. I'll probably take Australia somewhere as well, because you're going to get some value on the money line anyway if you want to throw those into some multis or trebles. So yeah, as you know, I love my alts and doubles and trebles on the alts. This game will certainly be featured in the point stakes and some Australia. So yeah, just a quick one. I have seen some reports that Sahili, the superstar, the man from last week, he might not be starting. So have a look at that, because he actually lifted that team. He lifted that back three. You know what it's like when you have a superstar around you. Everyone wants to not disappoint that guy and play well. And you could see those backs of Australia wanted to play well for that guy, and they did. But if he's not there, that could end up in a scrap fest. So let me put a caveat on there. If he's starting, I'm way more confident. If he's not, it's not as confident. But let's wait for the team sheets.
Is he sitting, if he's not playing, is he sitting in the crowd with his golden jacket on, watching from a few meters away?
Well, he might be on the bench, which will help. But I mean, he was such. You guys watch the game. He was amazing. He made Ekatal and the back three around him just played so well. They were so confident, and I haven't seen them play like that for years. So yeah, if they bring that. We don't know what are Australia really? Yes, was it an anomaly performance? Let's see. If they can back it up this week, it'll be good to see.
Yeah, personally, I know Australia put in some bad performances, but I think they got the makings of a very good squad. But interested to see you say that, bringing in a top player lifts those around him. And I suppose it's a bit like when we have the Oracle on the show. It lifts the other teams. They're trying up their
keep us on our toes. Keep us on our toes, yeah.
Right, let's go. We've got a couple more games. Are these handicaps? We got the one. Oracle got it for me. This one, I couldn't find it locally. I didn't have a good look, to be honest. Scotland minus 30.5. The Portugal. My point trying to 66.5. Anything on this game? Any thoughts, Chris? I haven't looked at it myself, so no real views.
No, I'll be very honest. I haven't looked at any of the other games at the moment. If anything, I think you'll look at Scotland for 66 points. I reckon. I'm looking at teams where they have a look, but I'm sure Scotland will put a good few points in the Portuguese play. So I think it'll be a nice open game.
Yeah, but I'm with you.
Sorry. Yeah. Oh, I was just going to say, we played this team and we beat them by 45 points in that Bloemfontein game. Our team was reasonably strong. It wasn't the best side, but it was reasonably strong. And I suspect Scotland would play also a mediocre team, not their best team. I don't think they're going to send everybody out here. But yeah, this handicap will change on that. I mean, if they send out their best team, this handicap can go to 45. If the team's a bit weaker, doesn't have much to go further down, its low end here would be about 25 at 9 to 10. So, if you want to back Portugal, you probably want to wait for the team sheets. Just off the 30, I'm going to say they're probably worth a small nibble at the plus. This is a game. This is a home game for them. This is a European game. They're not going to Africa or going to New Zealand or Australia or America for that matter. Just for the record, for those who don't know, Portugal did lose to the USA. It was last week or 2 weeks ago, which was the reverse fixture of Portugal qualifying for the World Cup, which was about a year and a half ago. They beat the USA to qualify. They were the Euro 2 going on to the Americas 2, and it was a playoff to get in. Similar margin, I think they lost by 4 points. So Yeah, on a par value, this Portuguese team is probably as good as they were last year, if not a little bit worse. I don't think they're much better. And this really depends on how strong the Scottish team is. But 30 points definitely gets my interest. It is quite a lot for a team that's been playing rugby recently. And yeah, they're professionals now, these players. They just play in lower leagues in France.
Chris, I will bring in a year what Oracle says. I quickly had a Google because I hadn't looked at this. I see Scotland had named their team Darcy Graham back.
Jordan played very well last week, didn't he?
Yeah,
Graham's
Jordan
good.
was good. But looks as though they made a few changes, though. Hey, what do you make of that team?
Yeah, the pack's well changed, pretty much. Everyone. Yeah, I wouldn't be running too hard onto that Scottish team because I remember the first side is so much better than they used to be. But I always remembered when Scotland, these guys used to play if you want to call them the lower teams, those lower teams brought these guys their levels much lower. I always remember them in scrappier games and closer games than you would think. When I look at that side, I don't know how much cohesion is there. And if Portugal bring that spirit that they've showed the last 12 months, then they could possibly run Scotland closer than we think. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one there. One I'll probably
that plus is looking kind of juicy, but yeah, it's not the type of game that I go all in on. So yeah,
100%. Well, let's discuss the last game here. Italy minus 12.5 against Georgia. Italy well beaten last week by Argentina, but we got a point. A handicap here. Oracle of 12.5 and a point sign of 50.5. Once again, put my hand up on this one and say I don't have any firm views at this stage. I will look and put a bet on the Good for the Game website in the handicap blog actually, but I don't have any firm views here. Oracle, anything from you?
Is this game tomorrow, Brent?
I think this is also Sunday.
I think it's probably Sunday.
Because I couldn't find it. Yeah, it is Sunday. Sorry.
Sunday 3:40.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to tell you to have a sneaky punt here on Georgia to win this game on the board. I wouldn't even bother with a 12.5. Take a small bet. Back Georgia to win this game. They can win this game. And this is their what do they call them? Like a rehearsal, 6-7 nations rehearsal. This is the team when the 6 nations become 7. This is the team. This is the game they probably targeted. I'd go Georgia on the board, yeah. Small bet.
Chris, from you?
And you'll get 4-1 on this.
It's Italy are back on the bad naughty list for the next 3 years again. Stuff them went against my game. Right. I can't believe I did it. You know me, Brent. I never first said it's the national team or Zebra or Bennett, and I never make a punt on them. And the time I bloody do, they prove me right.
So no bet at this point for you on this one, Chris?
No, I'm not. No, it could be anything, that.
Right. Well, let's wrap it up with the best bets then. Chris, we'll start with you. What are your best bets at this stage as you're looking at things?
Yeah, I do that try bet, like you said, Gavin, the 1-7 either. New Zealand, France. I think that's a very strong play. You can get it on some guys in the UK and South Africa bookmakers. And then I do really like the overs in both the French and the Australia game. I think that those medium confidence that those are going to go over. But I'm looking at alt points there, so taking even lower points there in some alt doubles with a strong punt. So I'll be posting those later on in the weekend. But I'll be looking at alts on those games. Probably also with the New Zealand like a +7 or 8 and a 6 or 7 in an alt as well. So that's the angles I'm looking at.
I've seen his best bet, Australia on the minors. My best bet, well, I will send the newsletter out probably tomorrow morning. I'm running a bit behind this week. It's been a bit of a chaotic one. But most of the rugby tomorrow anyway, and I don't really fancy anything strong in Ireland against Argentina. Oracle, what have you got for us to wrap up?
Yeah, best bet would be Australian minus, and feel free to take a bigger minus than what's available at 9 to 10. I honestly think this game will be closer to 20, if not more. I'll price that up at between 12 and 15, that handicap. My second best bet is New Zealand to beat France. And then sneaky punts, Argentina to win the game. As I said now, Georgia to win the game as well. Portugal plus little bit, and South Africa to win the game. So, yeah, I just expect South Africa to win. Argentina on the board, New Zealand to win on the board, and big Australian minus. And sorry, one other one. My son just WhatsApped me now asking why there's no betting on the Spain-Fiji game. We haven't seen a handicap on that, and he's a big Fijian rugby fan. I'm going to tell you, you can take whatever minus you like on Fiji. Again, bigger than 9 to 10. Fiji will smash that Spanish team. This is a great Fijian side, and they're also punch drunk after their victory last week. So, yeah, Fiji all the way. Big minus. Bookmakers will probably come out an hour or two before the game on that. Who knows?
Have you seen anything, Chris, on that game?
No, I haven't. But I might actually have a look at that. It looks like a nice game, betting game as well, actually. So I'll have a look.
Well, it'll be interesting to see. I projected the line, and I mean, I said on the forum, on the Good Game forum, it's a guess. I mean, I don't know what. Yeah. This was early in the week. I went 15.5 Fiji. Minus 15.5. You'd be quite happy to take
that's about right.
Yeah, I think any minus up to 25 here should be puntable.
Yeah,
I would only start backing the Spanish in the 30s.
Yeah, I agree. I reckon Fiji go past 20 winning this game.
Okay, good stuff. Well, thanks to everyone in the live chat for joining us on this Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock. It is a strange time to do the show, I must admit. I don't think it's a bad time because we've got most of the teams and stuff, but it just felt strange. Getting ready for the show on a Friday afternoon instead of
my first show in without a beer, actually, ever.
Yes, well, because you're at the office. I mean,
I thought you sounded coherent and made sense this time.
That also probably explains why the show's only taken 31 minutes.
And that.
There's a comment from Dave. Suali is rumored to be on the bench with Karevi starting. Now, Karevi is a great centre.
He's good. He's a great player. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Dean, I don't know where you're flying to. You're sitting at OR Tembo, presumably back home. And thanks, guys, for the show. Look forward to chatting to you next week. It's the final week of internationals next week, if I'm not mistaken. And looking forward to seeing what we can find in that one. Have a great weekend, everyone. Till next time when we host the Handicap, the Rugby Chat at Macquarie.